Let's go across to our panel of guests tonight to talk about the Corrupt Netas Bill, the big outrage from the opposition ranks, and how the government has defended this as the right thing to do and a bill whose time has come. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, scientist, best-selling author. Sanjay Jha, political analyst, supports the Congress. Charu Pragya, spokesperson for the BJP. Dr. Ranganathan, for you first. Gestapo state, another tool for vendetta, another instrument for washing machine and score settling, says the opposition. What do you think?
Good evening, Shiv, and good evening to my fellow panelists. There are two issues out here, in fact, and both merit going into. But first, let me read out verbatim the 130th Amendment for your viewers, the so-called Corrupt Neta Bill. Quote, a minister who for any period of 30 consecutive days during holding the office as such is arrested and detained in custody on allegation of committing an offence under any law for the time being in force, which is punishable with imprisonment for a term which may exceed of 5 years or more, shall be removed from his office by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister to be tendered by the 31st day after being taken in such custody, unquote. The key phrase, Shiv, in this word salad is allegation of committing an offence. Shiv, much as it may sound troubling to many, I have to say this. E incumbet probatio qui desit non qui neget. A man is innocent until proven guilty. That is the bedrock on which our entire justice system stands. You may not vote for a politician, you may not like to see him become a minister, but if you believe in the concept of justice, you cannot proclaim him guilty. Only a judge can do it. The role of a state is not only to make the criminal repent and reform, but also to make sure only the guilty are punished. The so-called Blackstone ratio, Articles 14, 38, 39, 21 make right of defense a fundamental right, and not just for an Indian citizen. It was a proud moment for us when that monster Kasab was given legal defense. But today, it appears that being called and accused is enough to be proclaimed guilty because removal from one's office is a type of punishment, like it or not. Look, 31% of our current sitting Lok Sabha MPs face serious criminal charges. 32% of our sitting chief ministers face serious criminal charges. Unless the state set up tens of separate courts and judicial mechanisms to hear cases that pertain only to politicians and public servants, unless these cases are admitted, heard and disposed within 6 months, we cannot hope for a better future for this country. Now, point number two, equally important. And here, please allow me to expose the hypocrisy of our politician. Shiv, not a day goes by when politicians and political parties cutting across ideologies and ruling dispensations demand the resignation of fellow politicians on whom charges of corruption or impropriety have been leveled, but who haven't been proclaimed guilty in a court of law. Thousands of such cases. Is it not a fact that the Congress demanded Chief Minister Kejriwal's resignation over liquor scam, even though he has not been proven guilty in a court of law? Not just Kejriwal. Congress demanded resignation of Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel over bridge corruption, of Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan over CMRL case, of Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa over CD corruption allegation. So why are they protesting if such demands of theirs is consecrated in law, albeit with riders as guardrails, as you said, more protective than what they wished? Is it not a fact, just 30 seconds, that the same Congress demanded resignation of these chief ministers because it claimed, not without reason it has to be said, that they remaining in topmost positions will influence the case, coerce witnesses, destroy evidence and try and derail the investigation process? This is rank hypocrisy that they are opposing this now. That if you want morality and propriety in politics, but only when it suits you.
So this is selective outrage. Sanjay Jha, how would you respond to Anand? He says, the innocent until proven guilty principle most definitely applies. That worries him in the light of this criminal Netas bill. But the Congress's outrage is purely hypocrisy here.
Shiv, good evening to you and to Charu and Anand. And he's spoken for 3 minutes. I expect that you'll reciprocate that gesture towards me as well. Number one, I think the current Modi government is the most corrupt and criminal in our entire parliamentary and political history. After having said that, let me get down to facts. And I would like to probably tell this to Mr. Amit Shah through your very popular show, Shiv. Amit Shah ji se main guzarish karunga. I'm sure he will watch the program later during the evening. That why doesn't he take action against 94 elected members of parliament who belong to the BJP, which comprise of the 39% of the BJP MPs today, ladies and gentlemen, who are watching this program. Just see the hypocrisy of Mr. Amit Shah and the BJP. 39% of their MPs in parliament today are people who are facing criminal charges, and the Bharatiya Janata Party gave them the ticket knowing that fully. So I would request Mr. Amit Shah, kindly take action against them right away. Don't hide under the guard that, this bill is coming prospectively, because if we want to cleanse Indian politics, you have to do it from the very core foundation. Shah Sahab, आपसे ये गुजारिश है, इस पर जरा कानूनी कार्रवाई कल ही से शुरू कर दें आप. My second point is even more serious, Shiv. Look at data. I don't want to get into hyperbole and dramabazi. Let's look at data. 63 out of the 241 MPs, Shiv, this is a very important data. They have serious criminal charges declared in an affidavit. And you know what the serious criminal charges are? These are people who are sitting in that sacrosanct house where I can see Mr. Amit Shah speaking right now on your program. Guess what the serious criminal charges are? 1, rape. 2, murder. 3, attempt to murder. 4th, kidnapping. 5th, crime against women. These are the people whom Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Modi have sheltered in the BJP, who go thup, 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 thup on parliament when they make their speeches. But now my second important point. What did the Supreme Court say about the ED, Shiv? Because the ED is the instrument of political vendetta, which has targeted the opposition leaders, which is why they are complaining today. It is not a hollow complaint. It's a very serious issue. Look at that. Look at what the Supreme Court said to the ED. 1, why are you waging a political battle on behalf of X? It's the Supreme Court openly telling the Enforcement Directorate that you are fighting a political battle against the opposition. 95% of the leaders targeted by the ED CBI, ladies and gentlemen watching this program on NDTV, is the opposition.
Okay.
And what is the ED's conviction rate? 0.1%. 0.1%. So it's pretty obvious what the ED is doing.
Sanjay, your 3 minutes are done.
My last point.
I'm always very fair with my guests.
The Supreme Court tells the ED, my last point. The Supreme Court tells the ED, look at the language the Supreme Court has to use. Stop acting like a crook. I don't need to say more.
Okay. Go ahead and respond, Charu.
Thank you, Shiv. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to my fellow panelists, all our viewers, and Shiv, 3 minutes for me too. Now, the premise of the arguments put forth by both Anand ji and Sanjay ji, both of whom I respect immensely, is completely wrong, because the fact is, who can keep a Neta in custody for 30 days? Is it political vendetta or is it judicial process? It's judicial process. So if the police is arresting someone, even to detain them temporarily, they must get permission from the magistrate for 30 days, whether it is police custody or judicial custody. Again, the permission should come from the courts. So the bottom line of this entire bill is that if our judicial process finds a fault in the way you've been conducting yourself, that is when a Neta can be detained for 30 days or more. This is the premise that I want to highlight, that the entire opposition is completely missing out on. And this makes this process reasonable. You can defend yourself, but you cannot use power to shield yourself from responsibility, which a lot of Netas have been doing. Let me also use some examples right now, Shiv. Let's take the most recent examples. First of Hemant Soren, Chief Minister of Jharkhand, and then Arvind Kejriwal, then Chief Minister of Delhi. Hemant Soren decided to resign, went behind bars, came back, contested elections, is Chief Minister again today. Arvind Kejriwal was arrested, went behind bars, refused to resign. What did the courts do to protect the citizens of Delhi? They barred him from entering the Chief Minister's office. They made sure safeguards were put in place so that one powerful Neta could not tamper with evidence, could not scare the witnesses away, and could not make the entire judicial process a scam, because the person who is the chief accused is sitting outside and influencing the entire investigation. And I think this is a very, I'm saying this again, reasonable bill. Because if there are allegations against a civil servant, he has to step aside for fair investigation. If there are allegations, even in a corporate, while that is being investigated, the officer has to step aside. Why shouldn't political leaders be held to the same standards of integrity? And who's got a reasonable explanations as to why you must be shielded from accountability only because you're sitting in a position of power? You can't use that chair to shield yourself from wrongdoings. 5 years of punishment is severe. It is a lot.
Anand, you can answer that. You can jump in on that. But also, I wanted to just add one small bit. I have
provisions for safeguarding. Shiv, I don't know if my 3 minutes are over.
Your 3 minutes are over, but I completely agree. I have to agree vehemently with one thing that Charu said, which is that in this case, the judiciary and the judicial system is the guardrail. So, what is everyone saying Gestapo about? Anand's point about innocent until proven guilty, I think holds very well, but in this case, the judicial system is the guardrail. Having said that, I have no intention of being frivolous. It's a dead serious issue. But in this age of narratives, Anand, I have a feeling it is not so much about arresting prime ministers and chief ministers. It's about laying a trap. Why does it feel like the opposition has walked into a trap and all of them are looking like they're against this very lofty sounding, anti-corruption bill that seeks to, in a theoretical sort of world, lock up prime ministers and chief ministers? You can answer, Charu, and also that, Anand.
No, very rightly said, Shiv. But, a couple of points out here. Number one, the fact of the matter is, as I said, Congress needs to answer when it has demanded the resignation of the opposition party chief ministers at the drop of a hat. Why is he objecting to this very law where, as you said, the guardrails are there that the Congress didn't even use the guardrails? So there is hypocrisy there. Congress has to answer, and my good friend Sanjay completely, went tangential, did not answer that fact. Number two, as far as the ED is concerned, may I please draw your attention to the 2022 Supreme Court case where the so-called draconian provisions of ED were looked at by the Supreme Court 3-judge bench, and they actually found that they were absolutely bona fide. And number two, the conviction rate of ED in PMLA cases where the cases have been heard and finalized is 98%.
Yeah.
It is not the problem of ED. If those cases are languishing in the courts, that is the problem of the judiciary. Now, number three, what Charu says, as I said, I've already mentioned it, because politicians like to say that, look, we must be upholding morality and ethics. So yes, this consecration in law just helps that out. But the fact is, even if there is a judicial process ongoing, that judicial process has not proclaimed the man guilty and he is being punished for it. For example, I asked Charuji, point blank question, was A. Raja corrupt? Charuji?
So, may I answer, please?
Yeah.
Please answer,
He's asking
yes or
you
no.
straight.
Yeah. So, Anandji, I was about to expand on what you have just said. There are safeguards in this particular bill which are going to protect the innocent. One, you can be reinstated. If the courts find you not guilty, if you are out, then you can be reinstated.
After 10 years, your life is gone.
No, let me continue. The second thing is that this has been now sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. If there are any loopholes that need to be ironed out, I am very sure politicians from across party lines are going to sit together and iron it out. But what is the bottom line that all of us should be focusing on? Cleaning up politics, because we are equal to the other citizens. We do not become special just because the people of our country have elected us and sent us to Parliament or to the Assembly. And this is exactly what this bill is re-establishing. I will come back to using examples of Arvind Kejriwal. Please tell me, what did he achieve being the Chief Minister of Delhi when he was behind bars? He had to appoint another person to look after the city in their day-to-day affairs. He had to sit out important events, and the people of Delhi decided that the allegations were so serious that he should not be elected back. And I've used two examples, both different, both extreme, and both were different opposite outcomes.
Sanjay, Anand says you diverted from his direct question about the Congress constantly asking for resignations, and therefore, why do you have a problem with this? But also, sticking with the perception issue, it does seem like, for Rahul Gandhi especially, someone who, famously tore up an ordinance as far as, reversing a decision by the Supreme Court on corrupt Netas and corrupt MPs, to go from that to call this particular move draconian, seems to be hiding behind constitutional technicalities when he has this overarching sort of anti-corruption crusade persona. and it just looks bad in that sense as well. But go ahead and answer that question, Sanjay.
Yeah. Shiv, in terms of whether I'm diverting or digressing, let the viewers decide who's saying what and who's being more relevant and true, right? Let the viewers judge. They are watching all of us speak right now, and they are watching all of us very, very closely. Now, here is my point. First, a fact check. Rahul Gandhi did not tear the ordinance. He basically demonstrated what the tearing could be. He never tore the ordinance. But here is the important point.
It should be torn out, correct.
Here is the important point. And I'm going to quote you. I'm only arguing on your program on facts because rhetoric is boring. I leave that to Narendra Modi to do. Basically arrested illegally for no reason. That is what the Mumbai court actually said about the ED in the Sanjay Raut case. Can you imagine? I mean, I have quoted more examples already. Let me tell you one thing, Shiv. People cannot, at the end of the day, be taken for granted. You know, you are right. You hit the nail on the head. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah are basically trying to legitimize the most, I would say, devious, diabolical, and in my opinion, disgusting operational trick in politics called Operation Lotus, which has been used to harass people and destabilize governments. You know, I can tell you for a fact that Mr. Amit Shah, it is such an irony, right? I can see him on your program, waxing eloquent, sounding so sanctimonious. But I would like to tell Amit Shah ji, do not believe that the people of this country can be taken for granted all the time. You know, Shiv, remember demonetization? When Narendra Modi came and said after midnight all our currencies are invalid and the black money will be exposed, nothing was exposed in India. And as we all know by data, the Swiss bank amounts have actually gone up since Mr. Modi became Prime Minister. So people can see through this game entirely. I want to make one last point before I think you can go back to Anand or to Charu, that end of day, I think in Indian democracy, if you are going to now tell politicians, and they can be to the BJP as well, you know, tomorrow we could be in power and probably will be. Will Charu Pragya like it if her leaders are arrested on some flimsy ground without a trial, without a charge sheet, and then they are disqualified or made to resign? I mean, that is absurd. You know, Shiv, can you imagine if tomorrow for some reason somebody makes an accusation against you saying that you're the NDTV's editor and you said something which they believe is, you know, pretty mala fide, and then you are actually arrested and you lose your job when you actually could be absolutely innocent. I don't think we can really reduce Indian democracy to become a political instrument of harassment in the hands of an authoritarian and, may I add, a government that is becoming fascist.
Charu, reply and then I'll give the last word to Anand.
Thank you. See, we have to shield power from misuse. And I'm going to stick to that. Leadership must be pillars of trust, not loopholes for impunity. And by objecting to a bill like this, the opposition is basically painting all our institutions, all our authorities with the colors of distrust. Because here you stand and say you don't trust any magistrate, you do not believe in the appeal system, you obviously don't trust the ED or the CBI. Please tell me, what do you trust? The buck has to stop somewhere, right? And I will say this again, political vendetta can hold no one in jail for 30 days. It is always going to be the courts that take that stand. And suppose a magistrate even passes an order against
Kejriwal is in jail for 5 months.
To go into appeal. Sanjay sir, why isn't this advised? Why don't they go into appeal? And if the higher courts also believe that this particular leader must remain behind bars, then who can say that
Charu, you should listen to what the Supreme Court had to talk about the lower courts in India. And that is where the problem is. Even the Supreme Court knows that.
No, sir, I agree with what the Supreme Court is saying, but I also agree the lower courts are there in place for a reason. So why don't you just escalate the process and go to the Supreme Court faster?
Okay. I've got 2 minutes left. Anand, closing comments from you. Final word.
No, thank you, Shiv. You know, there is a reason why I believe that law should be included in the STEM subjects, because it's completely unemotional. It does not care about what your emotions would be. It is thoroughly objective. Now, both my lovely friends refuse to answer simple questions that I posed to them. To Sanjay, I posed, was Congress wrong when at the drop of a hat it demands resignation of all the sitting chief ministers, even though they have not been proclaimed guilty, even though they have not had the guardrails that this law provides? And Charu refused to answer the question, why was A. Raja punished for 5 years when in the end he was proclaimed innocent? Who suffered? Was it not A. Raja who suffered?
Can I quickly answer that, Shiv?
Yeah. We've got some time.
Yeah, you remember Rajnath Singh famously said that in our government, no one will ever resign. I remember 2014 when Mr. Modi became Prime Minister. I can rattle to you right now the names of the Congress leaders who quit. And the best example is somebody who's these days the BJP seems to love, Shashi Tharoor. An allegation against him on an IPL team. Shashi lost his job in the as a Minister of State for External Affairs. I remember, people resigned. Vilas Rao Deshmukh resigned. Ashok Chavan resigned. People resigned left, right, and center under the BJP. Absolutely no show at all. Anand, to answer your question, the Congress actually, in my opinion, I have been part of the Congress for a long time, so trust me on that. The Congress party, for all the faults you may find in it, has been much more transparent and much more of abiding to a public perception than the BJP has ever been. And I can tell you that the electoral bond scheme, probably the most corrupt scheme in this country, we saw mafia, extortion, and political exploitation, has been unchallenged.
Charu, Sanjay says the Congress has been hard enough on itself and has taken all those examples, says the BJP is no one to preach. How would you reply to that?
Well, the Congress seems to have a tongue-in-cheek humor because its tallest leaders are out on bail even right now. Rahul Gandhi is facing several charges where he was nearly sent out of parliament for a long term. And the court
12 years, huh? 12 years, Shiv.
So you have to see that Congress ran this country like a private company. That's not how it's going to be in the future. And like I said, please don't paint all our institutions and all our authorities with the color of...
Shiv, an interesting example. Let me give me 15 seconds.
Political vendetta.
Out of time.
Shiv, just one point.
Quickly, Sanjay, quickly.
Just one point, yeah. The BJP, which went after Robert Vadra, took a 150 crore donation from DLF on its electoral bonds for the BJP, and the case was closed. I don't need to say more.
Okay, I'm out of time, but it's clear that the bill is going to, trigger many more fights going forward. It's not a reality yet. We'll see what happens in Parliament tomorrow as well. Sanjay, Anand and Charu, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being with me on debate number 1 on India Matters.